Great day, attractive thinker and visual encouragers around the world. Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Break. Give yourself a fighting chance. Dr. Toni Hatton here, your identity coach and get to the root specialist at theattractivethinker.guru. This is where we support you mentally with mental resources for mental healing and mental strength and mindset maintenance as new and aspiring entrepreneurs begin to give birth to the books that are within them and the business ideas. One of my affirmations that I focused on this morning, and it is a part of the Attractive Thinker Vision and Mindset Clarity affirmation that you'll find on our website as well, is I am capable of accomplishing whatever idea comes to my mind. That was a part of the many affirmations that are in the Attractive Thinker book and on our website in our store. But that one stood out to me this morning when I was having my mental breakfast, as we encourage attractive thinkers to do around the world. I am capable of accomplishing whatever idea comes to my mind. I want you to write that down in your Attractive Thinker notebook today and focus on that. Recite that. Say it to yourself, and don't just say it. Close your eyes and feel it. Feel the energy behind that affirmation and become one with it, because it's that affirmation that's going to begin to tear away, help you break through the beliefs that are contrary to that affirmation. Because sometimes, Tichet, and I could say many times in our lives, we get ideas and we say, well, no, that's just an idea. It's just something to think about. It's just something cool to feel, when you're daydreaming or by yourself, and it puts a smile on your face or something like that. But I am capable. You, attractive thinker, you, visionary, are capable of accomplishing whatever idea comes to your mind. Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that I know is going to really resonate with you, because what you're waiting on is already here. And this is going to end the wait. It's going to put an end to the wait, because you may be in a situation right now, and situations don't have to be traumatic. They don't have to be devastated or have to all be quote unquote bad. You may be in between experiences right now. You're not where you want to be. You're not where you were. I want you to think about that. This is an aspect of beyond the break. You're not where you want to be, but you're not where you used to be. So you're in between spaces, experiences, and you feel like you're in a holding pattern, and you feel like you're waiting on something. What I've discovered in my life, to share, is I was never waiting on anything. Life was always waiting on me to believe in myself, to believe that if I have an idea, I'm well able to accomplish whatever idea comes to my mind. Whatever desire, flows from my heart, I'm able to accomplish that. So we're going to be talking about that today. And I have a lot to share with you on that specific topic. And so does my co-host. Welcome, my co-host, Tichet Bradshaw, to another episode of Beyond the Break. Give yourself a fighting chance.
Happy Mindset Monday, everybody. You know what? We made it. We get to do what we've never done, go where we've never gone, and have all that we deserve to have in this lifetime. It's such a great day to be alive.
It is a fantastic and amazing day to be alive. Attractive thinkers, I trust that you have already done so. For our new viewers and visionaries, run on over to Amazon and get your copy of the Attractive Thinker Experience. This transformational resource is a guide. It is a mental guide to keep you mentally strong while on your journey to writing your books and launching your business ideas, or transforming an area of your life. You're going to need this mental support. So I want to encourage you to do that. Have your Attractive Thinker notebook handy and capture the gems from today's message. What you're waiting on is already here. Let me share an experience with you that you may not know, or let me share an experience with you that will support you in understanding where this message is coming from. When we talk about what you're waiting on is already here, I've had a personal experience with that phrase, and with that thought, with that perception shift, with that mindset. Because for years I was waiting on something outside of me to change And not just to change, but to bring me the goals that I was seeking to accomplish, to bring me my success, to help me accomplish the ideas that I am well able, quote unquote, we talked about that, well able to accomplish. If I get the idea, I'm well able to accomplish it. But there was always something outside of me that I viewed as more powerful than me. There was always something outside of me that I felt as though I had to get permission from. There was always something outside of me that I felt as though I had to run my ideas by before I took action on them. There was something outside of me that I felt like I needed validation or approval from. You know, when you walk throughout your life and you feel like that, that is a disempowering state of being. It is a you're walking around feeling powerless, always feeling like if you got the idea, you would take action on it, but you have to run it by something outside of you. You have to make sure it's a valid idea, or make sure it's the right thing to do, or make sure that this is the right path to take or decision to make. That is so disempowering, because it's not helping you to own who you are. You're always waiting on something outside of you. And can you imagine how long that wait can be? Because situations and circumstances are always changing. Every time you turn around, something else is presenting itself to you. Life is a continuous movement. It's not like life is going to wait until you figure out how to get a life, or life is going to wait until you figure out how to overcome this hump, or life is going to wait until you figure out the answers and the solutions to this challenge that you're facing. It's not going to wait. Life is a continual movement. And if I'm constantly waiting on something outside of me to help me reach my goal or give me permission to reach my goal, I could be waiting for years. And I did. I was waiting for years for certain things to happen in my life, until one day. Because, see, even though waiting, I wasn't just sitting waiting, I was researching, I was studying myself, I was studying life, I was studying God, I was studying things around me, I was studying my purpose. I was digging, 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 trying to find out more about myself. Who am I? Where am I going? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? See, waiting just didn't, for me, it didn't mean just sitting and doing nothing. I was hungry for not just life. I was hungry for connection. I was hungry for purpose. I was hungry for meaning. And it caused me to search. It pushed me, it engineered my search. So while I was waiting, I was researching, I was doing my homework, and I was learning, and I was growing and expanding. Not only was I changing, things around me were changing. But one day I got tired of waiting. See, that one day was a day of awakening for me. I realized if I was going to continue to be in this position, I might as well say it might take me another 10 years to find out the answers that I was looking for. I could embrace the belief that I don't know when whatever this thing is outside of me is going to give me the validation and approval and open the door for me to, to go and create this thing. It could be it has taken me 10 or 15 years. It might be another 10 or 15, who knows? And that one day hit me. It was a defining moment. And I decided that I was no longer going to wait. As a result of all of the research and all of the work that I had done on myself, what I didn't know was that I was empowering me. What I didn't know was that I was setting me free. What I didn't know was that my beliefs and my perceptions were shifting and changing, because I had done all of this work and taken these deep dives into myself, into life, into my spirit, into God. And I didn't know that while I was waiting, I was growing. While I was waiting, I was changing. While I was waiting, I was being empowered. I was being strengthened. And then one day, I was no longer willing to wait. One day I was strong enough to take the first step. One day I was strong enough to take a chance on me. One day I was courageous enough to risk it all, to see what was on the other side of this waiting, or on the other side of this desire, on the other side of this thing that I wanted. I was willing to launch out into the deep to find it. to discover it, to embrace it, to experience it. So while I was waiting, I was growing, I was changing, I had become another person. And that's what I want to share with you, attractive thinker. The person and visual and visionary, the person that you are now is not the person that you're going to be once you step out of being disempowered and you begin to be empowered. That's two different people. So the person that was me, the person that was waiting, is not the same person that's now empowered to take the action. Because when you're empowered to take action, now you're stepping into trusting. While I was waiting, I was developing my trust in myself. While I was waiting, I was mustering up the courage. You know, have you ever seen anybody play double dutch jump rope and they're waiting for their turn to just jump in? While I was waiting for my turn to jump in. And one day I jumped in and I realized that there was no one out there for me to be waiting on. There was no one coming to rescue me. There was no one coming. There was no one to knock on the door to hand me a life. It was me that I was waiting on. And the only way that I was going to step up and take charge in my life was that I had to empower myself. I had to know who I was. I had to understand my identity and where I belong and where I didn't belong. I had to believe in myself again. That is a scary thing, to believe in yourself and not have to run your ideas by nobody. Just the mere fact that you got the idea is enough for you to create the idea without needing approval or permission. That is very empowering and scary at the same time. So, as attractive thinkers and visionaries, when we talk about what you're waiting on is already here, it calls for a belief shift. And I want you to turn to page 225 in the Attractive Thinker book that you have from Amazon. If you don't have it, you definitely want to run over there and get it right now, so you'll have it this week to go over these this lesson and this episode and this information that we're sharing. Page 225, there's an assessment on there that you want to take so that you know exactly where you are, and then you can begin to grow and move and evolve from that place. But you first have to know where you are. So when we talk about what you're waiting on is already here, it is a shift that has to take place. And that shift is taking place right now while you're listening to this message. That's why I'm so excited that you've tuned into this episode of Beyond the Break. Give yourself a fighting chance, because you no longer have to wait. Tichet, talk to us. Talk to us about the thing that we wait on for so long, how when we make this shift, we realize it's already here. It's already
Yep.
available to us.
And we're talking about the wait is over. We're saying
Hmm.
the wait is over. The thing you were waiting on is already here. Why is it already here? Because of the clarity that has taken place, right? How you wait makes a difference. You, Dr. Tony, you started talking about different ways of waiting. How you wait makes a difference in the world, makes all the difference in the world, because in that waiting period, the discovery that takes place, right? It reveals, it allows you to gain clarity on what you are waiting on, but who you are waiting on, right? Because a lot of times we're not waiting on anything outside of us to, like you said, come and rescue me. And I remember, Dr. Tony, when I first thought about that, I think I heard Melinda Robbins, right? I
Hmm.
remember her saying that nobody's coming for you, nobody's gonna rescue you.
Hmm.
It's up to you, right? And I remember feeling discouraged at first. And the reason why I felt discouraged, because number one, I was going through depression. I didn't have the strength that I have now. And I didn't know exactly who I was all the way. So I was discouraged because I said, if if nobody's coming to rescue me and I have to do it and I feel like I can't, what am I going to do?
Mm.
Right. So, what I needed to do was to get to know myself, to understand my power, to understand my strength, to get clarity on what it is I needed to do and what it is that I wanted out of life. Once I gained clarity on those things, then I realized I had the strength to do whatever it is I wanted to do by simply saying yes or no's, by simply saying yes or no, what we will accept, what we won't accept, what we're willing to do, what we don't want to do, right? And so the thing that I was looking for was already at my fingertips. It was already right there. I was looking for peace. Peace is now. Peace is you coming into acceptance of what happened, and understanding the purpose, and turning your pain into power, and being relief from the resistance of it, and allowing yourself to be okay despite what happened, right? Because you know at the end all things work together for the good. To have a calmness now where you're not in a panic about everything that's going on around you. Because, like you said, Dr. Toni, life is going to happen. It's going to happen regardless of who we are, what we're doing, whether we have a vision or not. Life is going to happen, right? But that quality of life depends on us. Nobody, like you said, Dr. Toni, is going to knock on your door and give you a quality of life. You have to take that. You have to have that confidence and take that quality of life by saying yes or no's, right? And you say, is it that simple to say yes or no? On some parts, it is that simple. On some parts, you're saying, I will not accept being treated less than who I am. On some parts, you're saying, yes, I will build something for myself and for my family. Yes, I will go on this journey of discovering who I am because it's necessary. Because in that discovery, my purpose is exposed. And when my purpose is exposed and I operate out of my purpose, my power goes out to the people who need it. Mm-hmm. You discover who you are and you end up making a mark in the earth that you didn't even know you were going to make. Mm-hmm. You end up making a difference, right? And so when I came into understanding that no one was going to rescue me, I was going to have to stand up. I had to get me some strength at the time. And the strength, again, was there. I wasn't waiting for strength to come. I wasn't waiting for courage to come. It was already there. I had to uncover it. I had to expose it. And I had to do that with getting to know who I am, getting to know what and why I am. I had to understand what it is I was willing to do, what my purpose was, how I was going to go forward, what was my language. Because the language you speak to yourself while you're on this journey makes all the difference in the world. Mm-hmm. I had to shift from negative self-talk to speaking affirmation more than anything, right? I had to make affirmations my number one language, my number one way of speaking when it came to myself, right? Until I was able to believe what I was affirming, and then it became my normal language to the point where now it's my mindset. The things that I used to say as affirmations is now my mindset, and it brings me peace. And so I end up making different decisions. Sometimes it takes courage, but the best way to have courage is to face your fears. If you have something that you're afraid to jump, you're afraid to move, you're afraid to go to a new job, you're afraid to get into a new relationship. The best way to overcome your fears is to confront them. And you'll realize that your fears weren't as big of a monster as you thought it was. You realize a lot of the things that you were afraid of was not as eerie or as gruesome or as big or as much of a problem as you thought it was when you start realizing that your confidence is more powerful than any fear you could face. Having confidence will help you to stand up to anything. It takes confidence to jump out of a plane. It takes confidence to go and do zip lining. It takes confidence to do those things. You might be afraid going up, but it takes confidence to actually sit there and jump. There has to be a shift at the waiting period. When you're on that plane to go skydiving, There has to be a shift from fear to confidence. Yes, we do things while we are afraid, but it takes confidence in order for us to say, okay, I'm going to trust that I'm going to land on my feet. So I'm going to go ahead and jump despite me having a little fear, right? And so confidence is necessary. Confidence in yourself, confidence in who you are, um, having clarity to who you are and what you want to accomplish in your purpose is everything, right? Because everything you're waiting on, you say you might be waiting on a new house. Um, you have to have the confidence to go and seek after that home. You have to have the confidence to say, yes, I can get a home. I'm going to apply for it. I'm going to go out there. You just never know, right?
Mhm.
Because sometimes whenever something calls for us, when greatness calls for us, sometimes we'll offer up limitations. Well, I can't because this, that, and the other. And we got all this list of reasons why we can't do what greatness said we can do, right? We're saying that when greatness calls, you got to be willing to have the confidence to say, okay, it's a possibility. I can do this. I can live in greatness. And you got to be willing to go out there and see if you can make this work, right? And you'll see that you can. You make the decision. You want a new relationship. You feel like if I leave this old relationship, I might be alone for the rest of my life. So you accept less to keep from being alone. And you realize it's better to be alone than to be in a relationship that makes you feel less than, right? But then when you go out here and you learn to love yourself, you find greater. You end up finding greater, but you find it in you first, right? You say, I'm scared to leave this job because if I had a job, I won't be able to pay bills. What if a business is calling you where maybe you was making 6 figures on this job, but now you're making 7 figures in this business? Right? You might have been making 5 figures on this job. Now you're making 6 figures. You just never know. The thing is we want to be on a journey of confidence and we want to be on a journey of discovery and clarity in order for us to see that the very life we're looking for is now. It does not have to wait. There's a lot of people who have different handicaps that does not allow the handicap to stop them from living a full life. So why should we? And I'm talking not only not letting physical handicaps, not letting mental handicaps stop you from living a full life. You know, that limited belief, that negative self-talk, stop you from going after the business you wanted. The business that you dreamt about, you don't want that limited belief in the way of you and your business. You don't want that limited belief in the way of you and loving yourself. You say, oh, I'm not perfect, I have this, or you're dealing with low self-esteem issues. You want to overcome low self-esteem issues, that answer is now. It comes in the clarity of who you are. It comes with loving who you are regardless of any imperfections, especially if you're measuring by the standard way of thinking. Nobody else can create a standard way of thinking when it comes to you, because you're great. So you're breaking through those standard way of thinking. You're breaking through the standard way of being. We no longer all have to be a size 2 in order to be considered nice looking, healthy, or anything. We don't have to be a size 2. If you're a size 2, great. But I'm just saying, when they have that standard, and we're out here, people are out here, starving themselves trying to look a certain way to fit in that standard. There's no standard. How about being yourself, curvaceous and all? Being who you are and loving who you are, loving your differences and your uniqueness, loving your identity, understanding your identity so you can love your identity, right? Because as you are growing and waiting, your identity shifts. You shift from someone who didn't have courage to someone who now has courage. You shift from someone who didn't have confidence to someone who now has confidence. There's a big difference in the person that you were, the person that you are, and the person that you want to be. There's a big difference in all three. Pay attention to all three levels. The person that you desire to be, what's in the way of that person? Nothing. Nothing, just a decision.
Mm.
Some of us are one bold decision away, and I say bold, one bold decision away from living the life you said you want to live. One bold decision, just one. We're not talking about mountains of decisions need to be made right now. We're saying one bold decision to keep to that one business, reading that one book, saying that, breaking through that one mindset, undoing that one faulty belief, taking away that one limitation. You know, some of us are just one bold decision away from living the life you want, because everything that you want, there's something that's attached to it. You say, I want this house. Why do you want this house? There's things that are attached to it. There's a piece in that house. There is you imagine yourself being a certain person in that house. Well, that person has to build that. That person that you expect to be in that house has to be now. You have to be that person now so that you attract that what you want, because you attract who you are. And so if you desire to be healthy and you say, I want to be healthy, that's now, that starts now. The moment you start a habit of being healthy is the moment you are on a journey of being healthy. You say a healthy person lives a life as this. A healthy person gets up every day and do X, Y, and Z. You have your mindset on what that looks like, right? The minute you start operating as that healthy person, the minute you start being that healthy person and you get the healthy results. There's all kinds of answers on this earth. For every disease in this book, for every mental disease, for every physical disease, ailment, um, every physical and mental ailment you can think of, there's an answer in this earth. It's up to us to discover it and find it. If you say there's no answer for my ailment, then you have not looked hard enough. Because I have seen people break through things you said you might not be able to break through. There's an answer somewhere. And if it's not, perhaps you might be the one to create it. What about that? What about if you're the one to create that answer? Can you create an answer if you're too afraid to tackle the issue? If you're lacking confidence in yourself, can you become an answer? It's so easy. It's so easy to say we want to do stuff, right? We want to be, but it's what we're willing to do and be that makes the difference in the world. Your will is what gets done. By the end of the day, everybody has a certain will for that day. If you were willing to go to work, then that got done. If you weren't willing to go to work, then that got done. Your will is what gets done throughout the course of your day. You were willing to wear whatever you got on. You were willing to eat whatever it was you were eating. Nobody forced you to do anything. You were willing to do it. That's what got done at the end of the day. Who are you willing to be? Because you have to do that daily. If you're willing to be peaceful, then you have to do that daily, starting now. What does a peaceful person look like? What kind of day does a peaceful person have? What kind of mindset does a peaceful person have? And how do I develop that now? That's the clarity we have to uncover in ourselves while we are going forward in our journey. That's what we have to uncover. What does that look like? Get that mental picture of what it is you want to be in your mind in this moment. Get that in your mind. Be clear on what it is you want to do, be, and have. And then say to yourself, I can do, be, and have. I can create it, I can live it, I can manifest it. Every answer is already in the earth. It's already fulfilled. Right? When you get that in your mind and you know that there's an answer, you'll search for it. What you seek, you'll find. Right? And so when you start seeking these things start opening up to you and you start seeing a little bit at a time. It's like, oh, I can do this. Oh, I can do that. But the time starts now. So you're not waiting for somebody to come in and give you confidence. Who's going to knock on the door and give you courage? Who's going to knock on the door and tell you, you know what? You can have greatness. People can talk until they're blue in the face, but until you believe it, you're going to sit there and keep waiting until you believe it. When you believe that you can have greatness, that's when you'll walk in it. The thing is you don't have to wait months and years for greatness. Greatness is now. Living that great life, having a great human experience is now. We don't have to be depressed. We don't have to be sick. We don't have to be living in a mediocre, mundane, routine life. We don't have to be stale, stuck, or stagnant. We don't have to be. We can make a decision to say, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not beating myself up over what I couldn't do, the coulda, woulda, or shoulda. I'm not doing it. I'm not taking part in conversations that are lowering my vibration, lowering my energy. I'm not taking part in conversations that makes me feel like I'm just drained. I'm not interacting with people who does not mean any good for me. Mm. It's not enough for me to just live in goodness if I'm called to greatness. Now, for those of you that are not called for greatness, but if you're visionary, you know you're called for greatness. You have it in your soul, you know, right? Good is not enough if you are called to great. And the reason why I say that, because if you stick with good when you're called to great, you're settling. You're settling for less than what you fully could have. For your full potential, you're settling. And settling is a decision. I'll settle for this because at least I have something. But there was something in your spirit that said you could have more. Mm-hmm. There was something in your spirit that said, hey, there's something beyond those walls. And if something was put in your spirit for it, why wouldn't we go and see it? People give you all kinds of excuses, Dr. Toni, to why they won't go after greatness. Well, I don't want to be greedy, and I don't want to be selfish, and I don't want to mess up nothing, and I don't want to make mistakes. Go out there and make mistakes. That's how we learn, right? But how you clean up those mistakes is what makes the biggest difference, right? You can't be afraid to fail. I don't know too many successful people that have not failed. You got to try and try and try again until you actually do. It's not enough to live life, just keep trying. At some point, you got to do, be, have, manifest it, right? Because everything and anything is available to us for us to live our great life. We don't have to stay miserable. Unless somebody got a gun to your head, got you chained up and locked up, you're free. You're free to make a decision. You're free to move. There are support groups and support systems that can help anything you got going on. If you're in a relationship that is not healthy, there's support groups that helps with that. There's no excuse for us living in misery anymore in this day and age, especially the day and age with technology and information right at your fingertips. There's no more excuse of living in misery. That should encourage you to say, okay, if there's no excuse to living in misery, then you mean to tell me I could just not live in misery? Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to stay sad. You don't have to live life in tears. You don't have to remain heartbroken. You can heal. You don't have to stay limited. You don't have to limit your life to what you think you can and can't do. You can see beyond the break.
Mm-hmm.
You can live beyond the break. You don't let the break stop you. You let the break restart you.
Mm.
That's what it's there for, to expose you. If the break don't expose who you are to yourself, I don't know what will. And so we had, and so for encouragement for me was knowing that I did not have to stay unhappy, that I can make a decision and say, enough is enough. I'm not staying in this. If I don't feel alive, it's not enough.
Mm.
Started building to where I felt alive more and more and more. And before I knew it, I was living and glorious. And I'm saying was, but am living and glorious. To where time is flying by because I'm having fun.
Mm.
Who knew that could happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm
Mm-hmm.
so used to crying and man, you have those Monday blues and you got the Tuesday struggle. By Wednesday you need all the prayer in the world and you can't wait to Friday, and then Friday come blink and it's Monday again. Imagine every day being Friday for you.
That's
Every
good.
day there's empowerment. Do I
Mm-hmm.
have ups and downs? Yes, I do. But
Yes.
my dominant energy, uh,
Yes.
I had to change my default. I wasn't going to let somebody else dictate how my life was going to go. That took confidence.
Mm-hmm.
That ability to say yes and no and let it mean something. Your yes and your no mean something. You not wanting to do something is enough. That's enough reason to not do it. You wanting to do something is enough. That's enough reason to do it. You don't need nobody else to confirm that. That's enough reason. How you feel matters. What you want matters. Desires matter. Your vision matters. Your work matters. Your purpose matters. And the fact that you do or don't want to do something, all of that matters. So why would we put it to the side? For what reason? For what reason can we give to say we want to live miserably? Stay stuck and stagnant, not doing it. Why? Why is that even an option? When I can make the decision to come alive at any moment and allow myself to live by that expectation of coming alive, feeling alive, growing, learning, living in joy, experiencing some new things, to discover I like stuff, some to discover I don't like stuff. Either way, it's okay. If I don't like it, it's okay. If I like it, it's okay. And so when you give yourself the confidence and the clarity and put those two together, you can achieve anything. You'll find the answer you're looking for if you look hard enough. We were able to find that misery when you look hard enough. You can find the power if you look hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
But the power is not a week from now, it's not a day from now, it's not tomorrow. It's right now.
My
What you're
God.
waiting on
Mm-hmm.
is right now. Back to you, Dr. Toni.
That is so phenomenal. The power is right now. What you're waiting on is right now. What you're waiting on, attractive thinker and visionary, is already here. We're here to end that wait for you. We're here to support you in ending that wait. We're here to support you in taking that next step in understanding, getting the clarity that you have the power to end the wait with these shifts. So when we talk about weight, while you were talking to Shed, I was looking up the word weight. It says to be inactive or in a state of repose, to continue in expectation. When I saw that definition, to continue in expectation, I was reminded of a scripture that says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. So when we keep deferring what we're hoping for, our heart is getting sick. My heart got sick to Shed. And I got to the point where, as I said, what you recently said, enough is enough. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just cannot do this anymore because it's making my heart sick. It's deferring my hope It's deferring my ideas, is keeping my dreams and visions and ideas always in a constant state of dangling before me, always pursuing and never acquiring. Hope deferred can make your heart sick. When I looked up the word wait, it says to postpone or delay expectation of a thing. Delayed expectation. You're sitting here anticipating and expecting. You don't know when it's going to come, especially if you're looking for it to come from something outside of you. So you're not even in control of when it's going to happen, or when that door is going to open, or when that opportunity is going to present itself. That can go on for years. And that kind of hope deferred can make the heart sick. So while you were talking, I was thinking of what could I leave the attractive thinker generation with today? What where can I place the perspective of the of visionaries around the world today to give you something, to give you a starting point, to give you something to work with after you hear this message. So the question that came before me, what causes one to wait? See, a lot of times if we begin to unravel, it's almost like peeling the layers of the onion back so we can see things for what they really are. What will cause you to wait, attractive thinker, when you know that you have an idea to write your book or launch your business idea? What will cause you to wait, visionary, when you know you have to transform your life, or it's time to make some shifts and some changes in some areas of your life for the good? What will cause you to procrastinate on that? So one of the things that came to my mind to Shet was, you might think that you getting what you desire is taking away from others getting what they desire. That's a lack mentality at play. You feel as though if you get what you want, that's taking away from someone else getting what they want. Or if you get what you desire, if you get the promotion, then someone else won't. And that can cause you to procrastinate on taking the action on the opportunity. What would cause a person to wait? You think it's going to take a long time. If you've been waiting a long time, you think that it's now going to continue to take you a long time. So you're not going to do anything different. You're not going to take action. Your expectation is not going to, increase, because you feel as though since you've been waiting a long time, it's probably going to, you may have to continue to wait a long time. So that will prevent you from taking action. It will keep you in a waiting state, a holding pattern. What causes one to wait? You don't feel capable. Have you ever made a decision? You say, I'm going to move as soon as I quit this job, or I'm going to move as soon as I get this job, or I'm going to move as soon as I get married, or I'm going to move as soon as I get divorced, or I'm going to move as soon as I have this baby. I'm going to move as soon as this child grows up and moves out. I'm going to move as soon as circumstances present themselves, or as soon as this changes or that changes. And every time those set of circumstances present themselves to you and they change, a new set of circumstances causes you to continue to be in a holding pattern, causes you to come up with another reason on why you should wait. It's always something. What would cause a person to wait? You think one time would be better than another time. So you keep waiting on the right time. You know what I discovered about time, to shed? There's never a right time. It's always this time that I'm in right now. It's always
Yep.
this moment right here that I get to make the decision about the moments going forward. There's no manual to say, well, at this time in our lives, this is when people usually do this and that and the other. And at this time is when this is a greater time to do this and that and the other, or the ideal time to do this. No, no, no. This is a personal journey. This is my personal journey. And there is no right time from my experience. I've been on this planet for 56 years. From my experience, there's no set time or personal time, dates and times to do certain things. It was always me that made the decision. When I look back over my life at the changes that took place in my life, it was always me that activated the change. It was always an action that I took, or the lack of action that brought about a change. I want you to think, when I say the lack of action, it was me not taking action on something that caused something else unfavorable that I didn't want, caused it a circumstance or an outcome unfavorable that I didn't want to take place in my life. But the bottom line is, something is going to happen whether you take action or not. If you want favorable outcomes, then take the steps. Initiate the change that you desire to see in your life. At least put forth the effort to begin the path to be steered in the direction that you wanted to go in, instead of you trying to reroute the path because you for the lack of action and a decision was made for you. I used to tell my older son, and everyone who knows me knows my story, with my older son. He's blind, and when he was a child, I used to I raised him just like we raised all of the rest of our kids. Didn't raise him to be handicapped and things like that, so we had conversations just as if he could see. And I used to tell him, because when he was in middle school, he was joking around, and teacher was always telling me, he was laughing and talking. After school one day, actually, it was a Saturday morning. I was pregnant with our third child, and it was very cold. It was in the winter, and it was raining. And I had my older son, who was blind, get up, get dressed, get your cane, get in the car. No breakfast. Neither one of us ate. We're going for a ride. And we went and we got to where we were going. We got out and it started raining while we were walking. I pulled out my umbrella and put it over me. And he began to get wet. I said, I brought you out here because I want you to understand, if you don't get serious about carving a path for your life, one will be handed to you. If you don't make a decision will be made for you. And 9 times out of 10, people will give you what they want you to have, a little or nothing. They will not give you what you want. They will give you what they want you to have, which is little or nothing. So we had this tough conversation, and we spent an hour we walked around his elementary school, showed him where he grew up and where he stepped onto the scene of life, and we walked around his middle school, just having this conversation. He came home, he journaled about that experience, and he has those notes right to this day. And this year he'll be 37, I believe. But I was teaching him some lessons. When you don't take responsibility for where you want to go in your life, a life will be handed to you by default. And it's easier to redirect and steer and manipulate the life that you're taking action on creating than trying to undo a life that was handed to you by default, that you don't even have interest in, you're not connected to. So we're ending this wait today. The wait is over. Attractive thinker, visionary, no more waiting. We have given you information and resources, mental tools to empower you to step into the action mode, step onto the path to taking action so that you can create whatever that idea is, because you are capable of creating whatever idea comes to your mind. That's a attractive thinker, vision, and mindset clarity affirmation. It's in the book as well. You are capable of accomplishing whatever idea comes to your mind. So when I got to the end of what I was writing, one of the last ones to share, what causes one to wait. You don't think you get it, but you fully believe others will. You don't think you'll get it. You don't think you'll get what you're going after, but you fully believe everybody else will. Have you ever been in that place? You have faith for everybody else. Oh, I'm so excited for you. I'm so proud of you. Yes, go for it. You can do it. I believe in you. But when it comes down to you, you don't believe that you can accomplish this thing. Everything is always for everyone else and not you. That can cause you to keep sitting and twiddling your thumbs and waiting. And then to shed, I thought about it. What's one thing that I could share with attractive thinkers and visionaries today that would move them out of the waiting zone, out of the holding pattern? And that is, if I tell them that they already have what it takes to begin to move in the direction of their dream, and that thing is called belief. If I could show them how to shift their belief or change what they're believing, or shift their perception or change what they're seeing, it would put them in action, because belief could be a faulty belief. It could be a belief in limitations. It could be a belief. For years, I believed in the wrong thing. Honestly believed in the wrong thing. Wholeheartedly believed in the wrong thing. And when I changed my belief, everything changed. uh, lack of faith and trust in oneself. After you begin to unravel your limiting beliefs that are keeping you in a holding pattern, now you have to come face to face with yourself. You say, well, you might say, well, Dr. Toni, Tichet, I struggle to trust myself, but you're making progress. At least you got to that point to discover that you're struggling with trusting yourself. That's progress.
Yep.
That's not something to look upon as a negative thing or something that could hold you back. That is progress. Do you know how many people don't even know that they don't trust themselves? They're thinking that their issues are outside of them versus inside of them, and you've come to the realization that you don't trust yourself. Congratulations. That's what I say to that. Congratulations, you're on the path and you're making progress. Belief, a lack of faith and trust in oneself, lack of courage, not feeling capable or afraid of failure and success. I always say that beliefs are the blocks that either build walls that keep you away from what you desire or pave paths that lead you directly to them. It's you start with your belief. So you sit down in your attractive thinker notebook and you ask yourself after you hear this message today, what am I waiting on? Write that down in your attractive thinker notebook. These are the questions you're going to ask yourself. What am I waiting on? And don't judge it. Don't get sad about it. Don't start crying and carrying on and feeling hopeless. We all do that. But that's not what this is about. You want to know what you're waiting on. So, whatever comes to your mind, like I said, don't judge it. Don't try to clean it up. Write it down the way that it came to your mind. What are you waiting on? What do I believe about this? That could be a million and one things. What do I believe about this goal that I have, about this change that I desire to take place in my life? And just write it down. Don't judge it. Don't try to clean it up and say, well, I can't write that. I should write this. The first thing, because you already know. You already know attractive thinker. If I ask you, what are you waiting on? The first thing that came to your mind, that's it. If I say, what do you believe about your goals? The first thing that came to your mind, that's it. You don't have to keep challenging these things. It's right there. When you ask the right questions, the responses will come right up. So you want to ask yourself those questions. And the third question you want to ask yourself after you discover what your beliefs are, is it true? Is it true? Once you discover what your belief is, let's say your belief is, well, if I pursue this goal, people are not going to like me. Of course, that's true. You're going to have some people that won't like you, but does that matter? You know how many people are in this world that you're going to meet while you're on your way to reaching your goals? Do you know how many times your circle is going to change in the course of a lifetime? Do you know how many people you're going to have to let go of just to get to where you're going? Really? Name one person in this world who has taken everyone with them, every person that they've ever met in their lives, they've taken them with them all throughout their journey. Name one person. It's impossible. You can't. So you have to walk lightly through this life, You have to flow lightly, being willing to let things go that are no longer supporting you and getting to where you're going. We all have to do it. Nobody's exempt from that. And is it easy? No, but it's worth it. It's worth it. And when you get to where you're going, you're going to be glad that you did. You're going to thank yourself that you did. Tishet, tell our audience how they can get in touch with you, the visual encourager.
Absolutely. You can find me on my website at www.visualencouragement.com. We provide mental support for movers and shakers, for trailblazers, pathfinders, and groundbreakers. All you visionaries who desire to move mountains but need help lifting the heaviness so that you can create a new vision for yourself. Go to my contact us page, put in your information, let me know how I can uplift you, enlighten you, and encourage you so that you can live a life of fulfillment beyond the break. Again, that's www.visualencouragement.com. See you soon.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Attractive thinkers. Get your copy of the Attractive Thinker Experience on Amazon. It is a joy to read. I read it myself over and over and over again when I'm looking for new thoughts, I'm looking for answers, I'm looking for ways to get unstuck. I refer to the Attractive Thinker Experience because it works. because it works. It is a mental resource. It will meet you right where you are. Run on over to Amazon and get your copy so that you can apply these tools that you heard in this message today. And remember to visit page 225 for the assessment and answer your questions in the Attractive Thinker in your Attractive Thinker notebook, because they are vital to you ending the wait in your life, because the answers that you're looking for are already here. Dr. Toni Hatton, your identity coach and get to the root specialist, here to support you in mental healing, mental strength, and mindset maintenance while on your entrepreneurial journey or facing any type of change or transformation in your life. You always hear us say, our life's work, that's to make your life better. Remember, it is not what you're going through, it's how you're feeling. Think attractive. We will see you soon.